About 2.5 years ago, I read a wonderful article by a young adult who wrote about his struggles in believing in the true presence in the Eucharist. He wrote that he didn't have any trouble with the knowledge of it. He knew what he was being asked to believe. He had read articles, he had listened to podcasts, he had watched videos. He knew and understood exactly what he was being asked to assent to. He also pointed out that it wasn't for a lack of wanting, a lack of willpower, that he really wanted to believe that Jesus was fully present in the Eucharist. But for some reasons, which he couldn't quite articulate very well, he just couldn't quite get there. I bring that up because tonight, as you know, we commemorate this moment when Jesus gives us the Eucharist. And it is, as many of you would know, an amazing gift that Jesus gives to us. And so it's worth our asking ourselves, do we have a responsibility in this? Is there something you and I can do that might help this young man or people like him? As the article went on, I thought he made a terrific point, maybe a little prophetic point. He was writing shortly after the United States bishops had announced the 3-year Eucharistic revival. And he wrote, "I do so much hope that they're going to do more over the next 3 years than just tell me to believe. I want someone to show me. I want someone to help me to believe." That, I think, is the challenge for us. Many of you here, this is a belief that you never struggled with. It was the most natural thing to you. It was taught to you. You never doubted it for a moment. And so for those people, those of us for whom this is an easy thing, or perhaps it was a bit of a struggle for you and you've come to it, the question is, what can we do for this young man? I've spent the last 2.5 years actually trying to answer the young guy's question, and only came up with an answer just last week. It's not the only answer, I'm sure, but it's the best one I've got, and I offer it to you because I think it really very much fits with tonight. I wonder if it would help this young man and people like him if he could see the belief. Now, what I mean by that is not reverence. I'm not suggesting that what he needs to see is people demonstrate wonderful reverence to the Eucharist. He's already seen that. Now, think of it this way. Supposing this young man knows 12 people, 6 of whom have a firm belief in the true presence of the Eucharist, and 6 who do not. My question would be, can he tell the difference? Can he look at the lives of these 12 people and categorize them and say, yes, by virtue of what I see in this person's life, they must believe. They must believe that Jesus is truly present in the Eucharist and gives himself to this person every week. And it changes them. It makes a difference in their lives. He might look at the others and say, I don't see anything in their life that would indicate to me that they know anything about the Eucharist. And so that's the challenge, I think, and I will admit up front that I think it's a massive challenge. Can you and I, those who believe, we've gathered here tonight to remember Jesus and this institution of the Eucharist, can you and I live it out in such a way that people would unmistakably know of our belief? Can they look at us and they can see that, oh yeah, we are the ones that are loving our enemies. We are loving our neighbor. We may not like all those people, but we are intentionally doing acts of service and grace and mercy to those people. Are we people that give of our time, give of our talents, give indeed of our treasure to help those who struggle? Are we sensitive to people around us who struggle? Do we live it out? That, to me, seems to be the challenge. In just a moment, we'll wash the feet of a few of the parishioners to remind us of the time when Jesus did it, as we heard in the gospel reading. What a wonderful act of servanthood, Jesus was the most powerful person in the room that night. He could have gotten anybody to wash the feet of himself and his disciples, but he chose to do it. He chose to be a servant. I think that's what he's asking of us. Let's be a servant, and let's be especially a servant to those who might struggle with some of our beliefs, the Eucharist especially, but maybe some of the others. Let's serve them by living out our discipleship in Christ.